Hello, I'm Trevor Van Winkle, Director of VUE Productions, and welcome to this month's edition of the ReVUE. Today we're going to be taking a behind-the-scenes look at how we made Breaker Part 2, and we're also going to be talking about what's going to be coming up for this channel in the next few months. Now, I'm fully aware that I'm not the most entertaining person to have sit down and talk about a movie he made, so I'm going to try and keep things brief and entertain you by randomly blowing things up. Like that. Gotcha, didn't I? Nice one, I was going to try to look cool. Yeah. Credits! Oh, sorry. Okay, confession time. I know when I did the first episode of the review, I said I'd be doing one of these every month, which implied that I'd be doing one for every VUE original that we did, once a month. However, the moment school started, that whole plan went out the window. Mississippi Joe ended up taking upwards of 4 months to complete, and I still do not want to talk about it very much. I don't want to do a behind-the-scenes thing for it here. Just let the lesson learned from that be, always plan ahead, never bite off more than you can chew, and know your limits when it comes to filmmaking. That thing just ended up being blown way out of proportion because I did not think the whole thing through. But now, moving on to the film I actually want to talk about and enjoyed making. So there's an old saying in filmmaking, show, don't tell. And for the first time ever for one of my behind-the-scenes videos, I can actually do that. That's because, for the first time, we managed to get some behind-the-scenes photos and videos, mostly from the first day of shooting, due to the fact that my good friend Gabe McDermott, also known as Zato, also known as Alphys, also known as Kairos, and also known as Polyden, brought a small sports camera to shoot some video with. That was very kind of him, and we managed to get some really funny bits in.
This way, after Rachel, you come. So you're ahead of the group, and they're kind of like setting up for battle or something. Okay, set up for battle. So just kind of do some background action, like take defensive positions or something.
Take defensive
you
positions.
Just kind of run around.
Rachel!
In the back, come forward, and talk to him.
Repeat a defensive banner. That was the most Get back here. I'm not kidding. I do that all the time. Alex, come with us now.
That's okay. You're fired.
I agree, fired.
I wasn't paying attention either.
Yeah.
It's that way.
All right, you know your lines, yes? You know your lines, yeah?
Yeah.
You need the emotion here. You really do.
I need a what?
Emotion.
I need emotion?
Yes.
No!
Exactly. You nailed it. Perfect. Oh man, this is $1 million film.
So this is basically a summary of how our day goes at a VUE shoot.
Hey guys, Trevor's giving direction and you're in the seat.
Oh,
Okay, so
We started about noon and hang out for a while, eat snacks. We don't normally do lunch because it's 12 o'clock and it's a bit late for people to be eating. We joke around, just hang out, get in the mood for shooting, and then we head out and start shooting. That day it was more difficult because we had a large group of extras, but we managed to get that done. A few of them had to leave early, but it was great. There's some really funny moments, mostly due to my inability to control large crowds.
I'm really bad with that.
Are we running
no, it's okay. Yeah, let's just run this through once.
Okay, ready? Yeah.
Are you gonna be drinking a nice
So we go for a few hours, get the shots we need based on the script. I normally don't storyboard, mostly because I don't see it really necessary. I like to visualize things in my head. I don't really find it necessary to put it down on paper, which, I don't know, it works for me. I don't know about the rest of you. Leave a comment if you have an opinion on whether or not I should storyboard. So after shooting, we disband until the next day, where we do about the same thing. We usually spend about 3 to 5 hours on set, or on location actually, because we didn't really have any sets. Because it was this was a longer and more complex film, we had more complicated scenes that took more time to finish. On the first day, a couple things went wrong, which is generally how things go on a day of shooting with me. It was our first day shooting with the Canon EOS Rebel T2i, the wonderful camera which I am shooting with now. You probably noticed upgrades due to the much heightened image quality from our previous videos. I had done some test shooting with it and I knew basically how it worked. There were a few times where I was like, what's happening here? Why is the camera doing that? Why does the LCD shut down whenever we're ready? I figured that's just a timer thing, but it always seemed like whenever I said ready, the camera shut off. It was rather strange, and quite comical at times because we were ready to shoot, had everyone in position, and then I had to say, hold on, the camera shut off. Give me a minute. We also had less sunlight than I was planning on when we were shooting. I am far from a meteorologist, so I do not know when the sun rises and sets. I probably used that term wrong. Whatever. Anyway, that's about a basic day on the set, with variations on the theme depending on who's on set, what scenes we're shooting, and where we're shooting. But now, moving on into post-production, which was, without a doubt, the most frustrating part of this show. It was mainly due to the fact that we upgraded. Yes, upgrades are not always a good thing. When we upgraded from the Dinosaur GL1 to the lovely Canon T2i, we did not realize that there were a few hidden costs we hadn't taken into consideration. One of the things we didn't consider was the fact that footage from a current-gen camera rarely, if ever, works well with an older computer. This led to multiple technical complications that almost ruined the film. It began with an error message that popped up every couple minutes, and slowly that devolved into an error message that popped up every minute, and then every 30 seconds, then every 5 seconds, and finally it was impossible to open the project without it instantly crashing. I tried several fixes, including converting the footage to a more benign format for the computer, but I soon realized we would have to try something different. Thankfully, my very generous parents agreed that it was time for a computer upgrade from our 10-year-old dinosaur box to a new computer, which I quickly dubbed the video box. We got it about 5 days before the premiere and realized I had to crunch. After several late nights and early mornings, we managed to finish the film right on time for the premiere. With all technology, when it doesn't work, you consider doing something rather drastic. Thankfully, I kept my anger under control and didn't do anything like that. I assure you, my old computer is still alive. But it was still very frustrating, stressful, but in the end, I think super rewarding. And now, on to the premiere. I've already mentioned that we had a premiere event for the film, but I haven't explained what it was. As this film was my senior project, I needed some form of community service, and so I decided, since it's a film, what better than a fundraiser in the form of a film premiere? It started with a red carpet entrance off the parking lot where all the stars came out and took pictures, and it was really fun, just a way to get people in the mood. After that, we moved inside and had refreshments. They were a bit more than the usual popcorn and soda. We had some nice hors d'oeuvres made by my mother and a family friend, and then after that, we moved on to watching the films, which is what we all came for. First we watched Breaker Part 1, just to make sure that everyone knew all the plot points before we started, and then after that, we showed Breaker Part 2 after a short intermission. We had a great reaction from the crowd, standing ovation, as one might say. It was great having so many people in one room enjoying the film. Just their reactions alone were worth all of the effort that I put into it. If you've never had that kind of experience, I assure you, get over your fear of people ridiculing you because you don't think your film is good enough. A lot of the times, people won't see the faults in your film the way you do, and just have a bunch of people in a room watching your film, and you will get a great experience out of it. That's really what kind of filmmaking is about, entertaining people. After the Q&A session, we raffled off a copy of the final poster. There are links in the description to where you can see that on the Facebook page, or buy a full-size copy on Zazzle.com. I would really appreciate it if people could go and buy that to help support the film. We also have t-shirts and all kinds of assorted merchandise. I'm not trying to force you to buy anything, but we do need money to make these films, and if you enjoy them, please buy some of the merchandising just to support us. After that, we dispersed. This event was amazing. It was, I think, the culmination of my creative career thus far. The best film I've made yet, in a large crowd environment, watching it in a kind of movie theater type way. It was really special. It was really something I enjoyed. We're hopefully going to have another premiere event like that for Breaker Part 3 as another fundraiser, just because it was so successful. We raised a lot of money thanks to a few very generous donors. I don't know the exact amount offhand, but it was really enjoyable and really successful. A lot of the effects were covered in the BTS for Breaker Part 1, which was in the previous episode with the review, which you can watch somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to put the annotation. If you'd like to see a new effect or a more specific effect covered in terms of a VFX breakdown, please post in the comments what you would like. And now we're going to announce the film that you all know is coming. Now, since the beginning, we've always planned for Breaker to be a series. I originally just left the end open for future sequels. I didn't quite know if we wanted to do that, but I had plenty of ideas swirling about what we could do. Towards the beginning of production of Breaker, I had a conversation with Charlie Durand, a co-writer and a good friend of mine, and we came up with a lot of ideas for what could happen in possible sequels. At the end of it, I realized this is such an important and great story that it needs to be expanded into a full film series rather than just an 18-minute film. It was generally considered that Breaker was the first act. Now Breaker 2, the second act, really sets things up nicely for the third act. I mean, it was a great cliffhanger, if I do say so myself. Alex is dead, but he's not. Everyone seems to hate him, and Rachel is a breaker. Yeah, that's a big plot twist. You're gonna finally see in this film who Rachel is. We're gonna see more parts of the Breaker universe that we haven't explored before, and we're finally gonna see what happens to everyone. A war is coming. Everyone has been turned against each other, and things are about to get real. Between Part 1 and Part 2, we greatly increased the scale of our story and the production value. We hope to do this even more so with Part 3. We really want to make this thing huge, just epic in scale and production value. Just a great film for everyone to watch. If you want to help support our film, visit our Zazzle page. The link is in the description. We have some great merchandise, t-shirts, posters, that kind of thing. Just to give us a little bit of assistance in getting this thing made. We also are considering putting up a Kickstarter page sometime later. Post in the comments whether that'd be something you'd be willing to support. Well, that's about all we have for you today. Between now and the release of Breaker Part 3, we're going to be doing a few other videos. I think I'm going to be doing more episodes of the ReVUE. It's kind of a tutorial or teaching series. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. Gabe has also written a few videos that we might do between now and then, but that's very hush-hush because we're not quite sure if that's going to happen or not. Until we meet again, my good friends, if you feel like it, watch some good old VUE films here, and have a nice day.